up, guys? This is Jason Paradise here, bringing you one of the matches from our recent July Online Qualifier for the Road to Paris. This was the semi-final match between Oyau and Jahno86. Oyau playing the Haven deck Sandalphon versus Jahno's Sanctuary deck playing Ishuma, the Lord of Dragons. Right off the bat, Oyau is going to be putting down a Dark Assassin, and he's got a pretty decent starting hand, to say the least. 2 Dark Assassin, and hey, Jahno's going to actually do the exact same thing, throwing down a Dark Assassin. Such a powerful card. 4 damage on a 2-resource card. And Oyau actually does have a POW as well. He is going to, looks like, use that. And I was just going to say, is he going to use that to damage Jahno? But no, he's going to use that to take full board control. Does 4 damage. Puts himself in a pretty decent position early game by taking board control, and actually not going to stay that way very long, as Jahno's going to do the exact same thing back to him using a POW Deathseeker. And we're kind of right back where we started. What we were saying just a second ago, though, Oyau actually has a very good starting hand. Those Dark Assassins, he has 2 Wolf Captains in his hand, and those units, just such a great unit for the Haven player. Anytime you have an adjacent unit to it, it gains statistics. So, very smart play from him, putting that Dark Assassin down at the bottom row. And Jahno, even if he had another POW in his hand that he could play to take out that second Dark Assassin, he's still going to be taking a little bit of damage next turn. He only has 4 resources to work with. So, already, right off the bat, a good place for Oyau to be in this first game. Now, this is a best-of-5 series, so the winner of this will be going on to the finals and a potential shot at the World Championship later this year in Paris, France. So, lots of great prizes on the line. If you have not had the chance, you can register for this tournament. Just go to road2paris.com. There is the online qualifier for August already ongoing. Right now, feel free to join in that. You just need to be over 1100 elo. Jahno still has another Dark Assassin. This is a Dark Assassin heavy game, and we've already seen 4 of them put out between the 2 players. Magic Peddler as well comes out, so it'll be interesting to see what unique spell he brought into his hand from that Peddler coming out. And Oyau gonna put out that second Wolf Captain, looks like, right next to the first that he had put out before. And this is such a strong setup for him on the board right now. Both Wolf Captains gaining so much extra life, and he actually attacked the Magic Peddler with the Dark Assassin, said, you know what, I'm going to take out your 1 health creature, I'm going to take the 1 health damage to myself, I don't mind, I want full control of this game. And Jahno's actually in a really tough position here, because if Oyau can pull something like a Week of the Mercenaries next turn as an event card, I mean, there's already 7-10 damage on the board just from his 2 Wolf Captains and the Dark Assassin. Jahno's Dark Assassin up top cannot take out that Radiant Glory right now with just that 4 damage right now, 5 life creature in the top row. That's going to be pretty tough for him unless he has something up his sleeve, unless he sees some sort of option that will allow him to not only block those 3 creatures, but also potentially do damage with that Dark Assassin up top. Not sure what he could potentially pull out, even if he had something like a Geyser. Oh, he did see an option. He Strength of the Seas an option. Takes out that Radiant Glory at the top, but he only has 2 resources left. So there's no way he's going to be able to block all of this damage that's coming out to him in the next turn. Blocks 1 Wolf Captain off, and we're turning right back. Oh, wow, what a perfect pull for Oyau. Has the Lightning Strike now, can take out that creature. And he has Week of the Mercenaries, pulls a creature card. That's going to be, I think that's actually GG. Yeah, 5 that's going to be all the life that he has. Jahno is going to fall in this first game. And that's going to take us right into Game 2. First victory goes to Oyau. He's up 1-0 in the series. Let's hop right into the second game. Oyau, another pretty decent hand to start, has another Dark Assassin. And Jahno, let's see what he puts down. Wow, yet another Dark Assassin. This feels like it's going to be a repeat of the first game the way it's going right now, with Dark Assassins starting on the top row, and let's see if Oyau plays his as well. This is actually a perfect mirror of the first game. If we see a Pow Deathseeker pull out this turn to take it out, wow. This is a complete repeat of the first game, although Oyau does not have a Pow in his hand to take out that Dark Assassin in the top lane. So things are going to be a little bit different here as we see what he does. Perhaps taking one of the Radiant Glories and blocking, or maybe he can try to rush. But it looks like he is actually going to play the Ice Shell on his Griffin to stop the Dark Assassin from being able to attack. Oh, Stream Singer comes out, and he's actually going to be able to take full board control here. 3 creatures out on the board for Jahno, and he is looking pretty strong here in this second game of this best of 5 series. Oyau with the Sandalphon here, pretty strong. One of the few champions in the game that really makes a good use of the Song of the Lost. We'll see if that comes into play at all anytime in this best of 5 series. Another Ice Shell comes out on his Radiant Glory, which will stop him from taking damage off that Dark Assassin in the top lane, unless Jahno has any sneaky spells up his sleeve again. Nope, doesn't look like he decides to move that Dark Assassin and is really filling out the board with monsters. Oyau takes his turn back as well, and this is still really a bad position for him to be in the early game. I mean, already 4 creatures out on the board for Jahno. He doesn't really have any sort of mass removal spell to regain that control of the board, and only 5 resources to work with, so he could potentially put out, like, let's say a Dark Assassin or a Griffin and a Radiant Glory. So, you know, 2 different creatures to block. He still doesn't have a way to block everything. If he wanted to use his spell, cool, he can take out one of the creatures, but he's still going to be taking a lot of damage next turn. So let's see how he wants to play this out. He doesn't have perfect options here. I mean, he has options, but nothing that's going to save him from taking damage in this next turn. Definitely looks like he's thinking about, oh, he might potentially discard something, use Sandalphon's power, gain some extra resources so that he can put out more creatures to block. Smart thing to do, as if he takes much more damage, he'll be in a really tough spot to come back from versus this Ishuma that Jahno is playing. So maybe he'll discard one of his 3 resource creature cards. Maybe thinking better of it even. He doesn't seem like he knows what he wants to do, really thinking about this. I'm saying he discards one of the 3 resource cards because he needs to be able to put something else out. And there goes one of them right there, actually. And he's not going to be blocking all 3. He's actually going to be putting that Sunrider in the top lane. And Dark Assassin comes out to block as well. And he's going to be leaving that Jahno Dark Assassin down in the bottom row, free to attack. So he will be still taking at least 4 damage in this turn. Let's see if that strategy pays off for him in this next go-around. And oh, Word of Light. Perfect spell for Jahno to be able to play right there, as he's going to be able to clear out that Dark Assassin and do so much damage, fully regains control of the game yet again. And I don't know how Oyau can come back from the position that he has currently put himself in. This is really tough when Jahno has 2 extra cards. He has extra card advantage, and a Pow Deathseeker. It just really isn't going to be what's going to bring him back into this game at this time. It's still so early to be 6 resources, only 4 cards. Sure, he's going to be able to take out that Dark Assassin this turn, but there's still quite a bit of damage out, and he's going to just have to block it. What else can he do this turn? This is most likely going to be GG, as the Week of the Mercenaries does come out, and if he has something to put in a little bit of extra damage out, maybe a Oyau is in his hand, then it would be going to a game 3, all tied 1-1. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening the way he's clearing that. Oh, a geyser! There are no creatures left on the board for Oyau. Strength of the Sea is a great spell, but yeah, Oyau knows that that is the end of the game right there as he pulls that and just says, you know, that's cool. Let's go into the next game. So, with that being said, it's all tied up 1-1 with Oyau and Jahno86 both taking one game in this series. Let's move on to the third game, and we shall see who is able to take a 2-1 lead in this best-of-5 series. Jahno is going to be starting this game out, and yet again we are still from the perspective of Oyau, who is courteous enough to send these replays to us so that we could commentate them for you, put them here on this YouTube. We will be trying to do some spectating of live games in the future on our Twitch TV channel, so make sure to go subscribe to that. We'll put a link down in the description of this video for you. And right off the bat, we're going to have a Tithe Collector put out and a Magic Peddler, so we're probably going to see him pull out that Strength of the Sea so that he can have that nice and soon, unless he wants to go for his Song of the Lost. He does have that in his hand as well. Didn't think so. Strength of the Sea, going to have that early advantage +1 extra damage to all of his creature cards. Such a great card to have in any deck that allows it. So Jahno on the other side is going to be playing another Dark Assassin. So many Dark Assassins in this early game for both of these players throughout the course of the past few games that they have been undertaking. So this turn, Oyau looks like he is going to be opting to put his point into Might instead of Magic, and even though he could have put the point to Magic, played the Strength of the Sea, he's going to save that for the future and opts to put out the Radiant Glory, wants to have another creature on the board. Doesn't really mind the fact that he's going to take damage from the Dark Assassin on this go around. Slaps him with the Magic Peddler, says, alright, it's cool, I'll do 1 damage, you do 4, but perhaps I'll get you in the future. So, sucks up a little bit of damage from Jahno there. Dark Assassin takes a stab at him, and I'm assuming that Oyau is going to be putting out his Strength of the Sea this turn. Possibly can take out the creature that Jahno just put into the top of the board with his Radiant Glory. Not to mention that if he does put out that Strength of the Sea, he can attack with both the Magic Peddler and the Tithe Collector, do a little bit of damage. There's the third point into Magic. We'll see if he decides to do that. He does at least have the capability of putting 2 cards out. And no, he's just going to play that Strength of the Sea and use the event card to get the extra damage, kill the creature card, and right now he's got a slight advantage with the 1-point lead in health. That's going to be changing this turn with the Dark Assassin attack, but he still has many more creatures on the board than what Jahno is able to pull out. Jahno's rocking about, what, 2 extra cards than what Oyau has on right now in his hand? So he does have options available to him, but he's still only going to be able to block that Radiant Glory, and now that Strength of the Sea is out, all of Oyau's creatures are a little bit more dangerous than they were before. Something as simple as one of those Wind Gusts and the Geyser could really clean out this board and allow him to just smack Jahno with those creatures and potentially take a 2-1 lead in this series. Going up 2-1 in a best of 5 is so important because that means you're just one game away. You're one small step away from making the grand finals and a potential trip to Paris. So here's those wind gusts that I was mentioning before. He is going to opt to move the creature out of the way, and is he just going to be doing damage with that Radiant Glory? Putting that pressure on Jahno, saying, hey, I think I can take your life force down a little bit faster than you can take mine. Or is he going to potentially throw out that Geyser and kill off the Dark Assassin? Because that is definitely something that he could do as well. Quite a few different choices he could make. Might even use one of his resources to pull an extra card and see if he can get another option. Nope, gonna use the event card instead. Oh, wow, look at this damage. Radiant Glory and the Pale Deathseeker nuking Jahno down for 9 damage there. And suddenly, Jahno is clinging on for dear life with only 3 life left in this match. This is going to be crucial for Jahno to come back, potentially play something from his hand, some sort of option that he might have to turn this around, lest he fall down to a 2-1 deficit in this best of 5 series. And let me reiterate, in a competitive setting, that is so hard to come back from. Jahno is really taking his time here, has to think about what options he has. Can he potentially knock out that Radiant Glory in the top that's been just causing him so much hurt, so much trouble in these past few turns? And yet again, this is still early in this game 3. He only has 6 resources. He might have some bigger cards in his hand that he isn't going to be able to play yet because he only has 3/3/2 for his Might&Magic Destiny levels. This could potentially be the closeout to this 3rd game unless Jahno can block and take some of these creatures off of the board. He is going to move his Mizukami up to the topmost lane, try to block that Radiant Glory, which to me says that he doesn't have things in his hand that can clear out the board, no spells. Gonna put out another Dark Assassin, which is gonna actually be killed by the Magic Peddler no matter what. And to be fair, Oyau's got that Geyser in his hand, which means that's gonna be the end of the game. He's gonna throw that out. Yeah, there it is right there. And the Magic Peddler is going to seal the deal on this game 3. Let's jump right into the 4th game. Oyau could close this series out right here if he is able to secure a victory. Remember that if Oyau wins this, he will be going into the grand finals to play against whomever might make it out of the other semifinal match. Winner there has a chance at the World Championship where you can win the Razor Blade gaming laptop and many other goodies. The World Championship will be held later this year at the Paris Game Week. And right off the bat, again, in this game 4, another Dark Assassin start. Both of these players have been so lucky to pull those cards early in their games. But I do think Oyau has, oh wow, already his Song of the Lost and Strength of the Sea in his hand, plus 2 Wolf Captains. I think he's got a very strong hand here. We're going to see him pull those Wolf Captains out both right this turn already, and he's not even going to worry about blocking at all. He's going to say, I think I'm going to be able to take you down faster than you can take me down. Let's rumble. Jahno with his back up against the wall here too. I think that Oyau has such a strong stand in this match right now. All he needs to do, play Strength of the Sea next turn, and he's going to be able to take a lot of damage off Jahno each time that it becomes his turn to attack. Jahno, I think, knows that too, and is going to have to try to block a little bit, putting out that Stream Singer, and even though it's there, he feels maybe I'll be safe, got 3 life. As soon as that Strength of the Sea comes out, nay. That's going to take that Stream Singer out. And even though he already has both of his unique spells in his hand, going to play that Magic Peddler just to suck up some of the damage from Jahno's creature. and also gives 1 extra damage to his Wolf Captain. So that's going to be another 5 damage Jahno is going to have to absorb right here at the start of this game number 4. And it already looks to me like Oyau is in a great position to close this series out 3-1. Jahno could possibly have some removal spells in his hand, something like a Geyser that does cost 3. He does put the magic point in, and actually the Geyser does come out. It isn't very effective though, because the Wolf Captains are still standing. He doesn't have, even if he had another Geyser in his hand, he doesn't have that 6 resource yet to be able to play 2, take everything out. And yet again, another creature's going to come out, and I feel like Oyau's just going to be able to rush this down. Jahno is really playing on his back foot right now, really playing from behind. Oh, and the Ice Shell to protect his Wolf Captain. Even if another Geyser comes out right now, it's not going to take down those creatures. This is looking rough for Jahno, who is facing elimination from the Road to Paris Online Qualifier if he loses this Game 4. All on the line right now. It's the difference between finishing in 3rd or 4th place versus a guaranteed top 2 and a potential at either a great set of prizes from Razor in our 2nd place or a trip to Paris and the potential World Championship. Jahno has to be racing right now through his mind all the options, heart beating as fast as it possibly can, as he is wondering, what can I do to stop Oyau from winning this game? Only 6 life left, a 10 life deficit. Word of Light's going to come out, which takes out 2 of the creatures on the board, but doesn't remove that last Wolf Captain because it had the Ice Shell. 2 life left on that Wolf Captain, and at least going to stop a little bit of damage from Oyau onto Jahno's creature. But another Ice Shell is pulled into Oyau's hand, which means he can protect either of his creatures next turn. Most likely that will another Wolf Captain gets drawn. I feel like this could be the end of the game right here. Instead, gonna opt to put out the Wolf Praetorian in that top. Such strong retaliation on that card. Ice Shell does come out on the Wolf Captain, and this could be the end of the road, especially because the Song of the Lost is still in Oyau's hand. Even if Jahno had a ton of resources in his hand and was able to put out 3 or 4 creatures, Oyau could move them out of the way next turn with Song of the Lost. 1 attack will seal the deal. I don't see any way that Jahno could come back and claim this victory. I'm calling this right now for Oyau to potentially take this game and seal the deal for his spot in the grand finals of the July Online Qualifier. Can Jahno pull off a miracle here? He is struggling to figure out what he can do, but I fear that it is a little too late for him, as he does put out a couple of creatures, but he is out of resources. This is going to be the game. 1 extra magic point is going to be all it takes. Oyau does increase his magic. Song of the Lost, he is going to move it out of the way and stab right through the heart of Jahno with his Wolf Captain as he secures his spot in the grand finals. GG, as Oyau closes this series out 3-1. Stay tuned for more content from the Road to Paris Online Qualifiers later this week. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to see our videos as they arrive. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. This is Jason Paradise signing off. Have a good one, guys.